Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Gen Con 2015 Overview Part 2. Let's get back to the coverage and start where we left off. Here we go. So the booth that I actually seen that was probably my favorite was the Upper Deck booth because of the Predator like scene that they had. I mean, they really decked it out. They also had Mal there for Firefly, Shiny Dice. So that is probably my favorite booth. What about any booths for you? Did any that grabbed you, like just scene-wise?
I mean, there were cool booths there. You know, I was mentioning there's a game that I've kind of flirted with on Kickstarter. It's come around a few times, and I've been interested in it. I think it's called Secrets of the Lost Tomb or something. And they had a pretty cool booth. It was sort of like a temple thing. There were some like torches with flame, actual real flames inside of Convention Center, which is interesting. But hey, I mean, you know, I hope they worked it out.
I'm sure. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and you know, there was like a steampunk booth, which was kind of cool. But honestly, I mean, those were cool. I don't want to discount them. Those were really neat. The Predator one, some of the bigger ones like the Asmodee booth was kind of neat, and Fantasy Flight and stuff. But I kind of like I've come to appreciate the smaller ones a little bit more, especially if they're kind of like, you know, tucked away. I kind of want to go find them and see what they have to
offer. Diamond were nice, yeah.
For example, and just to, I don't want to necessarily make this all about Kingdom Death, but they had a cool little small booth, and it wasn't. It was a little bit too small, but you know, it was very efficiently used. They had the whole base game in glass cases in the back, and you could go and just look at it and say, "Oh my gosh,
Beautiful.
here's everything you get in the game," and it's, you know, it's all there for you to see. Then they had a little miniature showdown phase playthrough that people could kind of stop and play, and they would give out some promos, and there was like a podium where I think his name was Joe, or whoever was working at the time, would just take orders and kind of tell you about the game.
Nice.
But you know, in last year, even though I overpaid, I got a pocket watch and a sword too. So I've come to appreciate some of the smaller treasures that are tucked away that you may not see because of all the big grandeur of.
Well, Kingdom Death was going to be there, right? From what I remember, his wife was like, "You just go. We have this opportunity," right?
The email I got said that it was like 3 weeks they got notified before Gen Con. There was like I don't know if it was a falling out, but something happened where a spot opened up and they were able to get in there. And
yeah. They're supposed to be bigger next year, though, right? I mean, that's what he was saying. He said he might have a bigger booth next year.
I think they will, only because the game will actually be out.
It's all true.
Hopefully.
That's true.
I know they're trying to get it out before Christmas.
Fingers crossed.
And hopefully I'll get it a little bit before that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That'll be our Christmas game.
So you mentioned the sword and pocket watch booth. Remember that big T-shirt booth that went all the way up?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, whoa,
wow. Last year, wasn't it?
They always have it there, and the booths around them hate them because they can't get anything. They can't see them. I mean, because this thing, it goes up, it's a tower.
Really, they should probably be against a wall somewhere.
Probably.
I mean, to be fair, I would understand if I was a smaller booth trying to get some notice.
Yeah, but
then there's T-shirt tower in front of me, and no one can see me from the other side of the
convention
center. I get that, actually.
And yeah, I mean,
I did like some of the art booths too.
Yeah, the art booths.
I mean, you know, they're simple. Again, they're just kind of displaying the product because, you know, unfortunately, it's all they can really do.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. I like that they still have like the artist lane or alley or whatever you want to call it.
It's pricey, but all the art's nice. It's quality stuff.
It's worth it, but
absolutely.
Our meager budgets.
Yeah, because you go in with board game mindsets, not art mindsets. So.
Well, and just to talk about that, I watched a video where someone was talking about that, how they budgeted out, and they said that they'll always set aside like a certain amount of money for extra stuff.
Gotcha.
Like a sword, a pocket watch, maybe some of that steampunk gear.
Inserts, maybe.
Inserts, the foam weapons, or an artist, you know, and a piece of art.
Dude, I really want one of those dice towers. Those magnetic dice towers. Did you guys see those things?
I saw the nice dice tower.
Oh, they had a whole bunch of nice dice towers there, and they apparently had famous people there. Some people from Star Trek were all the way in the back there.
Actually, I remember that because they were calling them on the big.
Oh yeah.
But they had them in the back, so it didn't really, you know, bog down the rest of the convention.
It was nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was
nice not to get trampled because someone famous appeared.
Yeah, you know. So what I have next on here is cosplay. I mean, I know we kind of went over that, but are there any like cosplayers that jump out at you? I mean, I have a few down here.
There was a group that did Final Fantasy, the Square Enix characters, essentially.
Oh yeah,
Cloud,
yeah. I got Cloud on here.
Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were two of my
Squall
impressive
there.
ones.
I feel like I saw a Squall. Maybe
Did
I'm
you?
imagining that. I mean, that tells you how much cosplay there was. That I'm having a hard time remembering what was there and not there. Because I was super shocked by I always expect to see cosplay when I go
So
to anime
good,
or
too,
comic
man.
conventions.
I mean, there's some mediocre stuff, but there's,
Well, yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff.
But there was some great Star Wars cosplay.
Vader and Chewie were two
Vader and
ones.
Chewie. There was one that had all the Sith Lords from the movies.
Nice.
I saw a photo of that pop up online.
Nice.
From Gen Con.
I saw some cool Mad Max cosplay.
Oh yeah, there was some good
There was
stuff.
a Max and a Furiosa there.
Oh,
Borderlands 2 cosplay.
tons of that. And that guy was kind
Every
of going like
convention now,
this.
I mean, that's one of people's favorite things to cosplay.
The one that you think is the most meaningless one was the guy that did Daredevil and didn't have a see-through mask, right?
So yeah, this guy, the new Daredevil show on Netflix is pretty good. I haven't seen
I
all of
love
it yet.
it.
I
Oh, I love it.
but it's pretty good so far. And shout out, you like it? Go cosplay as it. He couldn't see where he was walking. Find a material that you can see through if you're gonna play a character that has their eyes covered.
Somebody was guiding him,
If you
right?
play an Iron Fist or something like that,
Yeah.
that's great. Cosplay as Iron Fist, not enough people do it. But have material you can see through so you're not walking into people like an idiot the entire cosplay, or having someone have to guide you the entire time, because how's that fun, one?
Yeah.
And how's that fun for the person that has to guide you the entire time?
Yeah. Go Matt Murdock. I
And
mean,
it's just to jump on that too. I mean, there's some cosplay where people have their hands in something and they can't use their hands.
Yeah.
You're like, come on. I mean, I get it. You want to cosplay, and I'm sure you have a reason for doing it. It may not be a bad reason. It might just be that's what the character calls for, and your life calling is to play that character at a convention.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I just suggest maybe not doing that.
Yeah.
It just seems to not be.
if you're going there to do stuff with your hands, for
That-
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I guess I'm new to this culture for the board gaming. For anime conventions specifically, I know there are people that go just to cosplay and
Sure.
get photos taken, exchange photos,
Yeah.
sign photos because they're famous online.
Yeah, that's
That's a big part of that
They're pretty
community
famous.
there, and that's what they do all day, and
Yeah.
that's fine. Do people go to Gen Con just to cosplay?
I
I
mean,
can't.
I
Some of them
so.
have to. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to.
Like I saw the dude. Props to him, was awesome. Suit of armor guy.
The big suit of armor.
Yeah, there was a guy in a legit metal suit of armor.
Oh
walking
yeah,
around.
yeah. I think
How exhausting is that?
Yeah,
After 5
yeah.
seconds, I'd be like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, we're crying about board games.
And,
this guy has a
and
whole
he's
damn
got
suit.
an 80-pound suit of armor attached to him, if
Yeah.
not more.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was really cool to see, and I snapped a picture of him.
Yeah.
But if you want to do anything besides cosplay, be
Yeah, so,
cognizant of what
yeah.
you're doing.
maybe they have like a cosplay day. You know, they
They
go for
must.
4 days.
I
One day
mean,
they cosplay.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like I said, selfishly, I get to enjoy the fruits of the labor because I get to see these cool characters from
Mhm.
mediums of things I like come to life.
Right, and it is nice. I mean, I always long to do something like that.
So, not complaining, just saying, if you're going to go and you want to do a demo or something like that,
Yeah.
be careful about who you're cosplaying as because you might make it difficult for everyone around you.
But it was cool though.
Yeah,
for sure.
very-
I always
very
appreciate
cool.
cosplay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Did you see any others that you want to mention?
I think the most interesting thing. I mean, I didn't. Aside from the Mad Max, and we talked about Vader.
Yeah.
And then I know you've got one there that you want to mention too.
Monty Python.
Yeah, the Monty Python. That's here too. That's
I
what
know,
those
I
guys
love
do, just
them.
run
They're
around.
the best.
It's hilarious. I always appreciate that the culture there is so embracing. It seems like of
Yes.
cosplay. It's not just like, hey, some guy was dressed up as a guy, some girl was dressed up as a girl.
Or just be
Girl-
naked, almost.
I don't know about that.
Look
I
at the
don't know.
Spartan there. That guy was basically.
Oh yeah,
naked.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like if a girl wants to cosplay as a guy, it seems like on the surface at least that's embraced and accepted and kind of it's okay. I mean, it's fine with
I
me.
even saw a couple guys cosplay
Girls?
female characters.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
they were
I've seen a
not getting
few.
harassed whatsoever.
Mhm.
People were just doing their own thing. And that's something I even mentioned during
61,000 people. Man, that's
the
crazy.
convention was how open and welcoming the board gaming environment seemed to anybody. They didn't care. Hey, you want to play a game? Sit down. Let's play.
We need people.
Sit down. I don't care what you look like, what you dress like. Let's play a game.
Yeah. So food at Gen Con is interesting to say the least, right? I went out and I got a barbecue sandwich at the food trucks and waited a half hour to get that, and then I couldn't even sit down on a table because it was so packed. I went and sat down next to a wall and ate this sloppy barbecue sandwich. It was okay. I mean, I didn't get anything indoors because it's just so overpriced, but everything was overpriced. So, I mean, we started packing little snacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my experience.
Don't tell anybody.
What about your experience with the food at Gen Con?
I was lazy, and I did pack some snacks throughout the day. I like food, personally.
Really?
Yeah, go figure. I mean, can you tell? My thing is, I budgeted for some food money, and I also like pack granola bars and water bottles or Gatorades with me for the day, so I wasn't buying a soda every time I wanted to sit down and take a break.
No.
So I would go. I got the pizza inside the convention center, and it was perfect. It was pizza, pepperoni pizza,
Big slices at least.
big slice. Yeah, it was fine. It carried you over for however long you needed. The lack of ice was disturbing. So literally Saturday and Friday, I think both days they ran out of ice. And the entire convention, they're like,
You think they would figure it out the first time?
you know, and my frustration was, okay, you're out of ice. Tell me that before you order the $5 Coke
That
I
they
wanted
handed to
cold.
you. Yeah.
And then I had to sit there and like look at lukewarm Coke and not drink it. Really.
Did you not drink it?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't have either, man.
It was lukewarm Coke from a
Fountain.
machine fountain. Is flat. It's not good. It's no bueno. It's just not. So that was frustrating.
Yeah.
But that being said, pack a water bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Or two.
better for you, or two. It's better for you anyway.
And they actually had little water, like, what do they call it, dispensers?
Yeah.
That were tapped into the wall, not the ones that just had the little gallons,
Right,
which
so-
was...
That'd be my recommendation. Bring some granola bars, stuff it somewhere in your backpack, and bring some water bottles with you.
Yeah. Just to hold you over until after you get out of the con, you know.
Yeah.
What
the
about
food
you?
is best out.
I mean, I don't really go there for the food, so I'm just like, hey, I know. Which is something I kind of want to maybe do next year is look at restaurants around the area. Maybe
There are a
go
ton, and they were
Maybe you went
nice.
somewhere.
I went one, but I've been to a few other ones too. They have a sandwich restaurant there that's supposed to be really good.
So I'll have
So
to go there because I love sandwiches.
yeah.
Who doesn't like
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, I got the pizza inside, and it was exactly what I wanted. It was pizza, it was pepperoni pizza, it was good. Yeah, it's overpriced, but I expected that. I did plan for it.
Mhm.
I did the same thing he did, almost literally. I mean, we brought the exact same brand of water.
Sonny!
I did pack some, like,
Coca-Cola Corporation.
Give us
Yeah.
money.
I did pack some power bars just because I knew at some point I'm going to need them, and I can get headaches really easily if I'm not well nourished, so... Well, it's true. If
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not eating something, eventually a headache's going to come on like this, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it's, you know what kind of food you're going to get. You're going to get food that's not the best for you, but
It's
all
one
right.
weekend, so maybe you budget your food for the week ahead, eat really healthy, and then for that weekend you go like
Yeah.
pizza, I guess.
That pretzel
For the entire weekend?
Overpriced.
Yeah, or you can do the grocery route. You can just go to the grocery,
Yeah.
get a couple things,
Yeah.
and then...
That's what we tried to do. We talked about it, but we never did it.
Yeah, we kind of messed that up.
Yeah. What? Do we even have a fridge in our room?
What do we get?
I didn't see a fridge.
I don't
in
think
our
so.
room.
I don't
we
think we
couldn't
had
have even
much.
like even wanted to get
That's
like
true.
a package of turkey meat.
Yeah, our room was
It
pretty
would have
bad.
not been good by the second day.
So let's just touch on this briefly because we talked about before parking. So the first night I parked, and
Are you sure you want to tell the story?
I'm not going to tell the whole story.
We won't
okay.
tell the story.
Basically, yeah, I parked a far away place that was in like a factory area, like dense area that took us forever to find. Needless to say, the first night that we tried to find our cars was pretty bad. But beyond that, the parking even in itself was just horrid. $30 for parking, and I mean, you could find 20, but it's like, I don't know.
15 now, right?
I think we paid between
17. You say 17,
17 to
but
20.
upwards up to 30. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you wanted to get within 2 blocks, you were paying 30,
Yeah.
and it was gone by. I don't know what time because we got there early and it was already gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we got there before 12, and I mean, I'm not exaggerating. We must have spent 30 minutes trying to find a lot, and when we found a lot, it was a specialty lot, like for some group who might use it once a year or something, and then the other lots are just filled.
to the businesses of Indianapolis, if you want to make some money, open up your parking lots during convention weekend.
Oh.
Because I'll pay you $15 to park at a
Absolutely.
reasonable place if I don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm going to get my car stolen.
Totally.
But there was empty parking lots that no one could park in because it was reserved for
Mhm.
nobody. I mean, no one was there. So,
Right.
I'm just saying.
It was rough.
What about the area of Indianapolis, like the city? Did you guys walk around or kind of just take in the scenes of that?
I was surprised how happening it was. Like,
Yeah,
I
like that statue too.
Yeah,
Remember that?
there's this really cool statue that's like freaking huge.
Yeah.
But I haven't been to Indianapolis a lot. I always just kind of thought about it like the rest of Indiana, kind of sleepy.
Yeah.
It is not. Like, after about 5 o'clock, that city transforms.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, there was a One Direction concert the same night at the football stadium going on as this. There was a ton of people in like a 4 square block radius. But they have live music on the streets. There's food trucks out there.
There was a film fest that same weekend too.
Also, a film festival that weekend. There's a couple city blocks where they have open alcohol carry, where you can take your drink out and go like to the different tents and stuff. So, which is kind of cool. Maybe next year that's something if we stay a little bit closer to the convention.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind going and hearing some live music at the end of the night if we haven't exhausted ourselves completely.
What is your impression of the places?
Just, I mean, the same thing.
Yeah.
I did think the statue was really cool. I don't remember that from last year. I guess we didn't go that way.
We didn't go
like
that far.
in this. I don't know if it's the center of the city or not, but there's this huge statue that's. I mean, you would just have to see it. I wouldn't even take a picture, or not take a picture, but look at a picture online. You'd have to go and just be in the presence of it.
Yeah.
It was massive.
Yeah.
And very well made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too surprised by the activity. I don't know if that's because I was there last year or not, but it definitely a town. There's a lot going on. Plenty of restaurants, people walking around, going places. It seemed fun. Like stuff was going on, and
Economy seems well there. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Gen Con has to attribute to that as well.
Sure, absolutely.
61,000 people, man. That's got to definitely boost the coffers for a few of those places.
Every hotel within
However
30-minute
many.
square radius around or wherever that circle looks like, really.
So yeah, hotels. I mean, now that you've mentioned that, what about our hotel? Yeah.
Well,
It's my fault. By the way,
It's not your.
First of all, I want to say Dave was very gracious and did not charge us to stay in the hotel.
true, but I didn't do the best research that I possibly could. So, but it's always a lesson learned, right? You know, we had
Many
a one
lessons.
bedroom. Yeah.
Many lessons.
We had a one-bedroom hotel where there was a chair that had an ottoman that somebody slept on. I slept on the floor, which I'm okay with.
Concrete floor.
It was, yeah. I mean, the hotel
Pretty sure they just
was
spray
about
painted it.
15 minutes out. It was one of the Holiday Inns. But I've heard people like they were talking. If we can get closer, it would be ideal because we just want to. That's what we plan on doing if we can get, one of the hotel rooms close. Is have one that we can cross the street, take our stuff there, and/or wake up and just go to the con without parking. So
I definitely think, I mean, I had a blast at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything we've talked about so far has been positive for the most part.
yeah,
And so being in that hotel that's actually directly attached to the convention center, like obviously that's something you have to book straight up right away and pay a little more money for. Now you will save money on parking because you're just parking in the hotel and you're
that
walking.
makes so much sense.
And you can walk to
Yeah.
any of the 400 restaurants that seem to be in that 4-block radius too.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said about that. But I think the idea of being able to go to the convention center early in the morning, get the release games that you want, take a lap around and kind of see everything, and maybe make some plans ahead for the next couple days or so, and then go back and relax for a little bit, and then kind of go back towards that evening time again and catch some of that nightlife. I think would be.
I was just gonna say that.
I think
we missed that.
We completely missed that, which is fun. Like I said, we had a blast, but I would like to try maybe a different perspective next year to see what's better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have too much to add to that, honestly. I mean,
Gotcha.
the hotel was, we had a place to sleep. That's really the only thing I cared about.
I found out I snore a lot.
Yeah. A lot.
I might talk in my sleep sometimes too.
Maybe, yeah. I hate that. That's bad, yeah.
And maybe tear down towel racks.
That was funny.
No one
All if you're
actually.
listening, I don't know what he's talking
No one actually saw it, so we really can't, comment on.
True.
anything, truth-wise, anyway. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, the hotel was free.
It was clean.
It was nice. They offered free breakfast, which was okay.
Free breakfast was good.
Yeah.
I mean, just save money.
Yeah.
It wasn't terribly far away. It had enough space.
If you plan on going, do some research on your hotel.
Absolutely.
For sure. I mean,
There were tons around there.
the more research you do, the better your experience is going to be there the entire time.
And do it sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Everything with Gen Con, do it sooner.
Because I'm guessing next year will be even bigger than 61.
Yeah, if it's 9%
the hobby's
again.
growing. I mean,
my
if it's
So
God.
grew another 10%, man. That's 70,000 people.
70,000. Well, they were talking about expanding into the stadium, so, but they,
Lucas Oil?
Yeah, they were talking about expanding into there, but they're not going to expand next year, so that might be a problem.
Well, are they going to even keep it?
Well, they have it till 2020.
So that's a while still.
Yeah. Any prototypes? I know that we kind of hit on a few things. The one thing that I want to hit on is something that you're interested in and you didn't mention is folklore. And that was one of the prototypes that we were able to look into it. Yeah. Well, of course. So yeah, that's one of the things that I played. I was pretty excited about. Any prototypes that you guys played?
Brimstone wasn't a prototype, but it was freaking
there
awesome.
There were a ton of them.
Yep.
I'm trying to think about actual prototypes.
Did you see any?
I mean, there were a lot of prototypes to see. To be fair, that's probably something that I will focus on more next time. Like I said, rookie this time, I was just looking for what I wanted to get, something that I was familiar with, so I kind of stuck towards those companies I've heard of, Asmodee, Fantasy Flight, Z-Man Games, and tried out some of that stuff, Upper Deck, obviously. And I went around, I mean, I looked at every booth, I would say.
You tried?
Yeah. Tried to, at least on that main shop floor area. But I think that the next time I go, I want to do more tournaments and more prototypes.
Gotcha.
For me, I mean, I saw a ton. I just, I've been there twice now, so I kind of had the comfortability with it, and I knew what I was getting into, and more of what I wanted to do since I've been there last year. And I do a lot of Kickstarters, so I know a lot of games that are going to be there that may not be out yet. So one of the ones he mentioned was Folklore of the Affliction, which is a game I'm very excited about and more excited about now.
That was cool, actually. We talked to the designer about that.
Yeah, we have some of the photos here.
And so that wasn't really, I mean, we didn't get to play it. It was just a sort of a setup, and it had a lot of very basic level components because they're not produced yet and they haven't actually kickstarted yet. There was sort of a smart thing on their part. I'm very grateful for it. They actually kickstarted. They tried to kickstart it originally, I don't know, 5-6 months ago, and they actually made well over the money, but they realized that they just were not at all prepared to handle all the issues that were going to pop up, and there was a lot of things they had to do, and they got a lot of feedback about the game, so they decided, okay, you know what, we are funded, but we haven't finished the whole funding campaign yet. We're going to go ahead and cancel it and fix everything, get everything ready to go and prepared, and then we're going to kickstart it, which should be happening hopefully in September with another game.
It's a bold move, but it appears to have paid off big time.
It does, and it also worked out because they ended up getting coming under the wing of Greenbrier Games, who had another couple prototypes there that I'm interested in and that I have kickstarted, like Dragon Tides or Return of the Dragon. It's like a Bruce Lee dungeon crawl game,
which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's just awesome.
Was another game. Obviously, I played Shadows of Brimstone, Kingdom Death. We did the demo for Mission Red Planet.
Oh, it was great. Oh man,
super jelly I didn't get to do that.
We only got to play a few turns, and we're still enamored with it.
Yeah, it's on my list for sure to get. I mean, obviously, it kind of been floating around that name for a while, like a couple months or a year or so, and people liked it who played it, and then now it's coming back, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot, and it ended up being really fun.
I also forgot, I did, like I said, talk about earlier, I did play Norse Saga, and that it was a prototype technically, and I just wanted to give it a shot at one more time. So that is what I did actually do, and it was awesome. So it's kind of whetted my appetite a little bit for exploration more, so next year.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't play too many. I mean, I played the Portal prototype.
How was that?
And I also got to see the Attack of the Titans one. I didn't play it. It looked really cool.
So you saw that?
Attack on the Titans.
I didn't see that.
It's the cardboard standee is about that tall, and then it has little slits that go onto the Titan where the little meeples stand and hit him. So you're trying to go up the Titan.
Wait, hold on. Are they meeples?
Yeah, they're meeples.
gosh.
Well, this is a prototype. It's a prototype.
Okay, good. I was like,
so I don't know if
I mean, it's okay for meeples. I'm not gonna judge too harshly without playing it, but
yeah, but that was one of the few ones that I.
An anime game's gonna look like the anime game from. I'm sorry, it just does.
All right, so we're pretty much getting to the end here. I guess the last thing that we'll say is the new games that came out. Out of the new games that came out, I'm going to really do a comparison with you more of.
We don't want your.
Yeah, we want your input, of course, with the new games that came out. But in comparison, which year do you think hit with more new games? Which one had the better year?
Filled with information on this.
Yeah. And then we'll go and see.
What's your comparison, Travis?
2015 was a good year.
Pretty good year. Well, to put it out there, I mean, Cash and Guns and King of New York both came out that year, and
I forgot about that.
yeah, they were pretty big games. I mean, with the number of few, I would say this year was a little less on the new releases, but I think there was a lot more hype this year. That's for a lot of different games. So that didn't exist so much with 2014 with the hype, but there were more games. This year had a lot of expansions, I think. That was what I would say. I don't know. What would you say?
I mean, it's hard because I actually forgot Cash and Guns and King of New York came out last year.
Yeah, man.
I didn't even remember that I bought Cash and Guns there. And
Yeah.
It's nothing against the game. I like the games just fine. They're fun.
Yeah.
Sheriff of Nottingham came out last year too. It's a huge game.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to mention.
Wow, that's a really good year.
It was. It's hard to remember because it's been a year in the past and we have the freshness, the fun of the new Gen Con. But
Sure.
I think, as far as new games, because let's see, what was I getting? Flick 'em Up, Game of Thrones, and I bought a bunch of like little ones like Artifacts, Warehouse 51.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
reboots though.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones is a
were.
reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Versus System's a reboot.
Fear of Dracula is a reprint.
Fear of Dracula, yeah, I mean-
it's a reprint.
So that's kind of like, this is like the movie year. Like everything's getting rebooted. Movie-wise, this is board game the reboot 2015.
I think honestly, I'm gonna kind of take like an objective road and
Okay.
just say like it depends on what you're looking for.
Okay.
Like, you might only have 2 new games come out, and they might be the 2 games that you wanted your entire life, and you might say, well, it's the best year ever.
Sure. Yeah, it's objective.
I
Gotcha.
think
Subjective more.
I think for this year, I was a little bit more excited about the new games than last year.
Okay.
I mean, Sheriff of Nottingham's awesome. I played it probably 3-4 times, and I'll
Great
play it more. Cash and Guns, same way, and then King of New York, same way. I like
Mhm.
all those games. And there are other games I bought there too, like Shinobi Clans.
Oh, light games.
That's a
though,
great
yeah.
game.
That was
I
fun.
love Shogun.
Yeah, that came out. I remember. Yeah, you got that there.
It's beautiful.
But I think this year was a little better for me because I think there were some like bigger end games, like the Game of Thrones was kind of a big thing, and Flick 'em Up was an expensive game, but
Their
definitely
setup
worth
that
it.
they had, by the way, for
Oh,
their
that giant one.
was
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, they bring it with them everywhere. I mean, why not?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a little even-handed. Like I've liked both years. Obviously, I think this year I got more of what I went in to get because last year I didn't have any list at all.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of even on it.
Okay. Gotcha. So, what did it feel like with the new games coming out to you? Did it feel overwhelming to you, or did you kind of go with it?
So
Mysterium came out this year too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a big one too. Yeah, they had they actually had their own section that kind of concaved in. That was kind of cool.
It did.
I don't know. For me, I have a lot more knowledge of like video game publishers than I do board
Oh, you're
game
good with
publishers,
that,
right?
right? You have
Because I've been playing
treasure
games
trove.
for even longer than
Sure.
I have board games. But I'm starting to actually like recognize board game companies.
Mhm.
Like obviously everyone.
We're proud of
knows-
you for that.
Thank you. Everyone knows Fantasy Flight because they're like the behemoth. right?
Yeah.
And Asmodee's pretty big. Z-Man
Late.
Games, Flying Frog.
Flat Hat Now is with
Flat Hat Now,
Z-Man Games. They are merged
I thought
together.
I thought Planet was with Fantasy.
No, they merged with Z-Man this year. They announced it. It's F2Z Games is what they're calling themselves.
But so I'm starting to kind of get a feel, and like not even just know the name when I recognize it.
Yeah.
Who's the company that makes King of New York, King of Tokyo?
Yellow.
Yellow.
That's at the same
I
time.
know.
Oh, man.
I get a feel for how that game's even going to be before I even start to play it. Cause
Yellow's good for that.
Yellow, like you know
They're
what a
really
Yellow
good
game's
for
going to be
that.
like. Fantasy Flight, you know what a Fantasy
Impressions
Flight card game's kind of going to feel like.
Yeah.
You know what a Z-Man game, to me, I feel like I know what a Z-Man game's going to feel like.
They're pretty broad, but yeah,
They're broad, but like
with
there's a certain style to them.
yeah,
I agree.
So, and Flying Frog's the same way. There's definitely a certain style to their game.
absolutely.
Overproduced, but lovingly produced.
Yeah.
And so,
In live action pictures.
you know, you can. So I'm starting to get to the point where I can say, oh, I've got this new Flying Frog game, and I'm going to have an idea in my head what I'm going to get myself into, or an
Gotcha.
Asmodee game. The Asmodee game I really actually want to look at the most is the Ashen.
Ashes, Rise of the
Ashes,
Phoenix.
yeah.
Yeah, Isaac Vega, new.
Seemed
design.
interesting, but I didn't get a chance to play it
Of
while I
course,
was
it's
there.
a card game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm definitely a rookie in this whole hobby and thing, so I'm starting to get a larger knowledge base.
Was it
about
Pow and the Kisser with all the new games?
It was a little overwhelming at first. You walk into that floor and you're like, what? You know,
Over a little AP about where to go.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's important to have a map, or at least be
your maps
aware of the map.
Pretty good. Being tall is helpful, actually.
Yeah,
because you can just kind of see above, just look up.
Yeah.
So that's good for me and Patrick.
No, not so much as yet.
But,
I picked the smallest seat too. That's so funny.
And then it was cool to go to booths like Cool Stuffs where they had everything. Like it wasn't just one publisher there. You got to kind of see a wide variety of stuff.
All discounted too. Almost everything.
Ultra Pro Booth and I became best friends by the end of the weekend. I spent so much money that they gave me a free t-shirt. So.
That's awesome.
Wow.
They're like, you need this.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of new games there. So, I mean, the last thing that we're really going to talk about, I want to know. We are going to go back next year, right?
That's the plan.
It's happening.
The plan at the moment, yeah.
So I know you guys don't do lists. What would you say the best strategy is going into Gen Con? Like, go up and down the aisles like this? Because that's what I do, and I still miss a lot of things. But that's what I was trying to execute. Go all the way down to the wall, come down, and go back to the end of the wall. And I did that maybe 12 times. And still missed something. I've seen a new booth almost every time.
My strategy would be similar to like a role-playing video game.
Okay.
So Elder Scrolls, Witcher, Dragon Age, any of those games, open world, you can explore, and there's tons of stuff to do, hundreds upon hundreds of hours of things to do, and it can be a little overwhelming. And I think the best way to approach it, that I've learned from someone recently, is maybe you have like a small list of things that you want to do. Like you think about the stuff that's really important that you really want to have. Like for me, it was Flick 'em Up. I think Game of Thrones was on there, and a couple other things that I didn't end up getting, but it's not a big deal. But other than that, I think just go with the experience. I mean, you don't know what's going to pop up, what you're going to find, what you're going to see, who you're going to run into, what you're going to do. And I think if you constrict yourself to a list, you're more likely to be disappointed rather than have your expectations surpassed.
Yeah.
And that's what I was alluding to very early on in the video was there's so much to do there that you can't experience all of it, and you shouldn't feel like you're missing out. You should feel glad that you've gotten to experience as much of it as you do.
Nice. Yeah.
So whatever catches your eye, go and check it out. You might find somebody very cool there, or a game you didn't expect. There were a couple games there that I didn't expect to be. I didn't end up getting them, but I'm like, oh, it's kind of interesting. I'll try to keep that in my head and check it out later on. Or doing the Kingdom Death thing, or getting to talk to the guy about folklore. That was really cool too. That's not something you get to do all the time. So just leave it open for yourself. Have maybe something to kind of give you a slight direction, but the rest of it, I would say, just go wherever your heart takes you.
I'm pretty similar to that. I had a small core of things that I really wanted to get. Game of Thrones was the #1 thing I wanted. And then the Firefly Shine Days was the other one coming in that I knew I wanted. I had heard murmurs about the Versus system online relaunching, but I was like, we'll see how I feel about it once I get there. When I found out it was a living card game versus a TCG or CCG, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to have to get this now. But I wouldn't. It was probably the second place I went, so I hit where I wanted to go first, no matter what. And then, I just kind of at that point let the convention kind of guide, kind of your ear to the ground, like listen for what people are talking about around you, and even start a couple conversations with strangers. It's okay; they're all there for the same reason.
It's so friendly too.
Yeah,
it's so easy. It's so easy.
And I like when I sat down to play North Saga, it was the demo game. It was a good place to actually get some information on stuff that was coming out, because I'm not online for board games as much as probably Patrick and Dave are. I am, video games and card games and stuff like that. But it was cool to talk to some people and say, hey, what is exciting to you guys? Like, you'll get a different answer.
And like where they came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was one of the coolest things. Like,
how far did you travel from? Like, we only had
9 hours.
2
Oh
hours.
wow, my 2-hour trip was nothing.
The Zombie 2 came from Minnesota. So.
Wait, hold on. I'm jealous of him because Fancy Flight's up there.
Oh yeah, and they have a really nice establishment there with a cafe, a store. Oh, that Twins.
Tradesies.
Oh, that is, their store is nice. I wish I was there. Okay, so that basically sums it up. The one thing that I wanted to do as kind of a fun little subject was, if you could compare Gen Con to any board game, what board game would that be? Now, I'll go first to kind of give you a idea of what my thinking. I think Gen Con is kind of semi-cooperative because there were tons of times where one of us just stepped out of the crowd and the river of people just kind of pushed the other two out, and we were just experiencing the booth on our own. But then we got together and we're able to kind of hit cooperative things around there. So I would say it's semi-cooperative without traders. That's what I would say. Dead of Winter is basically closely compared to.
That's dark.
Zombie hordes.
Yes, just the mechanism of it. But sure, yeah. Do you guys have any?
Well,
any
the first game that
ideas
came
on
to my mind as soon as you said that was Rampage.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Just get what you want and fly through now.
Eat all the games. Eat all the games.
Rampage came to mind right away. I don't know. Yeah, it is cooperative, but there was times where we definitely worked in communication with, hey, this is over here now.
No.
By the way, kudos to the convention center for having great cell phone and internet reception.
Yeah, I was impressed with that.
I was
impressed.
thinking it was going to be a nightmare, and it wasn't. I don't know. Gosh, that's a hard question.
Rampage is a good one.
Rampage was my jokes thing that first popped into my head.
I mean, do you got anything?
The one that comes to me, and I don't remember the name. I don't know what the name of the game is. I just remember I heard about it a while ago, like last year, and there was actually a cool article about it. It basically, I think it was a Polish game or something, and it's about waiting in line for, it's like during the
for the waiting in line for the outhouse. Is that
no.
Okay.
That was a German game.
Oh yeah, it was.
No, this was one where you have a board and you have, I don't know the whole thing, but you're like, you have to wait in line to get bread or something because I think it's during.
It's dark.
Right. Well, it's during a communist period, right? So, or whatever it was.
So
that's what comes to mind for me is the waiting in line.
Okay.
Well, not that that's my whole experience Gen Con, but that's just the first thing that came to me.
Nice. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed the video and this was informational. I have been Dave.
Oh, Patrick.
I'm Travis.
Until the next time that we see you, have a great rest of your day and a great time with all that you play. You heard it here on the Game Vine. We're out.
Click subscribe.
Gen Con